that has your information. Oh, thank you, Mercedes. I totally forgot to hit record, and Jesse would have been so mad at me. Uh, so I have myself in here. So Matt Brown testing sign up, Matt Brown in here, just create one for yourself. It just makes it really easy to see what your clients are seeing. So this is how I typically start all of my opportunities. I just like to go through the client because I like to understand where we're at in the relationship. I might make notes inside of here before I create the opportunity, things like that. And you can see I've done some tests inside of here as well. So it's also a really great reference point to go back and check your stuff. So I'm going to come inside of here. I'm going to click on the opportunities tab. I'm going to create an opportunity. Then I'm going to go through and select all the information that I need. This one's going to be, we'll say, a buyer. For your opportunity name, just to make your life so much easier, add the address. So we're going to say Matt Brown, buyer 123 Main Street. And then I'm going to put test in capitals in the beginning and end, just so I remember that and don't actually try to work this file. Of course, you always have to put in commission rate. Just a little tip, if you use commission rates to track your income and outgoing money, you are going to want to put your half in. So whatever you expect to make, not the total commission. So if you're doing a listing, you take it for 6%, unless you know for sure you're getting both sides. Whatever your percentage is what you're going to be offering inside or putting inside of there. So in this case, 3%. You can, of course, set them in whatever phase they're in here, but you all know how to do all of that by this point. So I'm going to come in. I've created the opportunity. You can see it's now in the file here. And I'm going to go and click on it to open it up. And then inside of here, you can fill out key information. You can fill all of this info in. I'll tell you the one thing that you need to have for this to work in regards to getting paid. And if you're on a team, your TCs are most likely taking care of this part for you. When you go to write this offer, click here and put that property address in. It makes everything connect and flow better. Just trust me on this. Do that. But for the actual DocuSign, we're going to come to documents. First thing that I always do is come and pick my checklist type, and I'm going to do a residential. And I'm going to have all the information inside of here. So you can see residential. There's also a referral option if you're just sending out a referral, but in this case, we're going to stick with residential. And since we have set this up to be a buyer, so you can see here I'm under the buy side, it automatically pulls in buyer documents. This is why I go through the contact instead of through the opportunity. It flows easier for me. So just if you want to know my best practices, go this route. If I were to set this up to be a listing, then all of my listing documents, like required documents, would have auto pulled in. Okay. By the way, please raise your hand, stop me if you have any questions at all throughout this. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the actual DocuSign. So I'm going to hit start a transaction right here. This is how you'll know if your DocuSign is set up correctly. It will give you an error inside of here. Like that error just popped up, will stay that way. It'll flash through. It gave me the error because I was logged in as Tanya a little bit ago while we were troubleshooting hers. But you can see I'm still logged in as Tanya, so I have to log out. So by the way, if you log in as somebody else, it's always going to connect to theirs. So real simple fix, just close it. I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back in, start it over again, and then log in. Okay. We're going to make sure that our initials are up here or our photo, so I know I'm in the right room. So this is a room. So I'm going to explain this. Everybody here is pretty much used to dot loop, right? Think of a dot loop or a room as a loop. Okay, so this is where all the information is contained. The first step, just like dot loop, the first step is we need to add whatever documents that we need inside of this room or loop. Okay, so what I do to add documents, I mean, you can very simply upload documents if you have specific documents that are not generally templated, the documents that the brokerage provides, or you can come up to the top and click add and go to DocuSign forms right here. So I'm going to do that. Inside of here, I spent yesterday building this out. you now all should have access to elite buyer packets and elite listings package. JC, I'm not, you might not, but once we go through the switches, you will. But for everybody else, yeah, okay. We'll get that set up once y'all go through the transition. So now you have this elite buyer package, and you can come inside of here, and here is every document that you need. The minimum documents you need, I should say, the most used documents maybe is the best phrase to use inside of here. So you can see we have our guide to agency relationships, our agency consent, the actual purchase agreement, your notice of closing form, your thoroughbred ABA agreement, an exclusive buyer agency agreement, JAGO agreement, new buyer's responsibility form, and then lead-based paint form inside the pamphlet inside of here in case they're buying one that is before 78. Of course, you're going to pull your seller disclosures and your lead-based paint off the listing because keep in mind this is a buyer transaction. So we're going to select all of these. We're going to say, okay, before I do that, you also have your listing package inside of here, just FYI. Now, we do need to update a couple documents inside of here. This is the old listing agreement. We're just waiting on DocuSign. We're waiting on DocuSign to be able to do that. For now, we can operate using this stuff, but just keep in mind your purchase agreement and your listing agreement are the old versions of that. As soon as DocuSign gets it to us, we'll swap
I
this.
not product transferred ourselves.
Let's see. There we go. Okay, I was getting a little feedback. So back to what we were doing, buyer package. I'm going to select all. I know I'm not registering this person for JAGO, so I'm not going to do that. And let's just say I'm not going to do the closing form. Everything else, I'm going to use the exclusive buyer's agent agreement, and it's a newer home, so I don't need lead-based paint. So you can uncheck what you do not need. Then we're going to add selected. And now all of these documents, they do take a second to populate. But what the really great thing about DocuSign, and I don't know if anybody's talked to you all about this, is it actually reads the document and then decides, is this a buyer document or a seller document, and actually assigns like initials and signatures to that person. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to start with just one form. You can actually edit all the forms. So if you check all of these boxes, that means you will be setting up all of these for signature. So I'm going to show you that here in a minute. For now, I'm going to stick with just one form, and I'm going to make it a really simple form, the guide to agency relationships. Okay. So to edit this is the one thing that I need you to remember. This pen creates the envelope. Think of it, an envelope is mail, right? So think of the pen as I'm going to mail documents to my clients for signatures. Just a real quick and easy way to remember it. We're going to click the envelope. You can see here it's going to say how many roles are going to be signing. So if I have 2 buyers, I'm selecting both. If I only have 1 buyer, I'm only selecting one. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and say we have 2 buyers for this. It's going to spin and set my documents up. Now, if you remember, I told you earlier that it's going to actually be able to tell you who should be signing where. And this is the one thing is I've dove into this over the last 4 or 5 days that I truly, truly love. So first thing, got to set my buyers up. I'm going to set Matt Brown up as a buyer. I'm going to set Jennifer Brown up as also a buyer, and we're going to assign her a address. Let me change this name just so I don't get confused. I will say one thing. Sometimes when it auto pulls in, every once in a while, it will delete out this name. So let me see if I can make it happen. Like if I were to go change this, no, it didn't do it. Just know sometimes this name, like when you auto select, if it's somebody that's already been in there, it'll actually take that name out and you might have to retype it. So just FYI for everybody, it's the only glitch I've found in this whole system. But you can add multiple recipients also, and if you need more than 2. So inside of here, one critical point that I think makes all of this so much easier, uncheck set signing order. Okay, so what set signing order means is if I have it set, I can say that I want Jennifer to sign first, and you see it moves her to the top and changes her color to yellow. There's very few documents that we need to sign in a specific order, but every once in a while that happens. So if you have a void and release, you could maybe put both your buyers in, have Jennifer sign first, Matt sign second, and then add Steve in, sign, set him up as third. So Steve will come in and sign after the clients have signed. So you get everything done in one swoop. But keep in mind, Steve as the broker is never going to sign until everybody else has signed. So does that make sense on how you can set up the order of signatures? Okay. But 99% of the time, you're just going to uncheck that box, and whoever opens their email first can sign, because it has no impact on 90% of the documents that we do. Okay. You can also add a message. So you can custom an email for each recipient. If you check that box, I can send one message to Jennifer. So let's just pretend like Jennifer's my buyer. I'm the broker. I would send this message, say, hey, can you please sign this void and release? I would send this message, hey, Steve, once Jennifer signs this, can you please sign this and send it back to me? You know, just for example. Again, 99% of the time, you're just going to do your normal message. I would change this. I would say, here are your purchase docs for 123 Main Street. And then send an email. Please review and call me to go over before signing. Please do not, please, let me tell you this, please, hear me, please. Do not just randomly send your clients documents without reviewing them. You want to get in trouble? That's going to be a really quick way to get in trouble. You need to send documents, have them call you, actually walk your clients through the documents, and then have them sign. I promise you, if you don't do it that way, at some point, it's going to come back and bite you, and I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, I told you so. Just remember that. Sorry, Steve, didn't mean to play broker, but very passionate about that. Okay, so anyways, you set up your message. You got everybody set up. All of our buyers are in. We're going to hit next now. And then this is where we're going to actually edit the document. So, couple of things. When you're going through this document, everybody should be familiar with a guide to agency relationships. If it is a gray text box, that means that I can fill it out. The buyers cannot touch it in any way, shape, or form. So inside of here, I'm going to put principal broker, Steve Lewis. Of course, Keller Williams is pre-filled for us. And then the broker's phone number. Put that in. So just like that. Now, let's say this one, I'll just play with me, or pretend with me for a second. Normally we're going to put our own names in here, but let's say this was a type of form that we wanted our client to fill out. In order to do that, all we have to do is come in and actually change this text number. So we could actually delete this one out. So get rid of the gray. And if it's, you see how this blue dot is next to Jennifer's name? If I want Jennifer to be the one to fill this out, I'm going to be on the blue. See, blue matches blue. If I want myself, Matt Brown, to fill this out, yellow matches yellow. In this case, Jennifer's definitely the boss, so she's going to be the one that fills it out. So I'm going to slide my text box right over top of there. Just like dot loop, you can change the size as big, small as you need to put it in. Now that I've done that, when I click on this, one thing that you're going to want to know, if you absolutely need them to fill this out, and I'm going to give you examples as we work through this, but if you need them to fill it out, this required field has to be checked. If you uncheck it, it's still going to be assigned to Jennifer, but if she chooses not to fill it out, she can still move through the rest of the document without ever filling that out. So just FYI, and please, again, if any of this doesn't make sense, stop me. But 99% of the time, we're going to be clicked on this, and it is going to be a required field. Now, if you have this, and you can see it's blue colored, so blue matches Jennifer again. If you wanted to switch that, you could switch it to Matt. The other thing that you're going to want to do is if it's a document that only you want to fill out, you can delete that. And if you want to add something in that is uneditable by the client, you need to click this little pin over here on the left-hand side where it says pre-filled tools. This will change everything to gray. This means you as the agent can change something inside of here and the client can never override it. So in this case, we're going to add the text box and we're going to say Matt Brown is the name of the license. I'm going to plug that in. Then I'm going to go down And this is what I was talking about earlier. Since it reads what type of document it is, you can see it went ahead and pre-filled for Matt to sign one line, and you can see signature, date signed, Jennifer to fill one line, signature, date signed as well. If you wanted to add additional information, for example, you can come back up to your standard fields. You could put in text, different things, all of that, but really you should be good at this point. So this document's 100% ready to go and ready to send. To send it, we're just going to hit this send button here, and then that's going to send out. I'm actually not going to send it right now because I want to show you a entire package first. So I'm just going to go back. One second here. Go back again. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Getting back to my rooms. Okay, so now one thing you can drag and drop your order, your documents and things like that. I'm just going to leave them in the order that they're in now. I'm going to select all of them because I'm going to create this whole package at once. I'm going to come to my envelope and select there. Now, there's all kinds of different forms that can be filled out inside of here. I'm working with the buyers. So I want agent buyer, buyer 1 and buyer 2. We're going to check that box. And then it's going to be the exact same thing that I just went through with all of you, except for you're going to do a lot more documents at once, which is, again, it's reading the documents and deciding where do signatures need to go. That's why it takes a second to pull through. So again, uncheck your signing order. Make sure you have all of your people in. Oops. There we go. Got my people in. You can customize your message inside of here and then hit next. Oh, it didn't take your email for some reason. Hold on. Agents.com. That's it. There we go. So it's going to load all of our documents. So we're going to go through and fill this out. No different than we would inside of .loop. So offer prepared by, and don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and fill this whole thing out, but I do want to show you a couple things. You just tap through, hit tab. It goes to the very next thing. Listing company is going to be Keller Williams. Delete. Matt Brown, and if you obviously are not the listing agent, you can delete this out. It will, if you just hit delete, so you can see I clicked on it and hit delete. You see how it took the whole box out? If I were to type something in here, I did that. I just wanted to show you two different ways. I can literally come hit delete or see this add text. It matches this. I can come, if I don't want to delete the whole box and I just want to change my field, I can delete that there and then add in what I'm wanting to add like that. But if you accidentally do delete a field, because I do it all the time, just come to your pen, make sure you're on gray, because that's agent filled, click text, drop it in there, adjust your size to where you need it, and then refill in the information, just like that, okay? So we're going to go through, obviously we're going to fill all this. You can see everything's pre-fillable. It's a lot better than our setup in .loop because you can actually fill out individual forms instead of pulling up that one thing and you got to fill it out and it translates it over. So I do like that. I just wanted to point that out to people. We have little circle boxes here. If you don't have the circle box, like you accidentally delete one, let me delete a couple things off of here. Radio is your circle box. So you can see here, I can come click radio. I can click inside of there, accidentally put 2. Oops, and I accidentally hit, I got click happy there. And then I can very simply come in, you can change all the formatting and all that stuff. The group button, check right here. This is the one thing I wanted to make sure I showed you all. It will not let me check, see I'm trying to check it. It won't let me check it here. You actually have to come to this right side, hit radio button values, and then check that box right there. And now it's checked, okay? This is one thing that took me a minute to find out. So let me save you 10 minutes of your life. Just remember that. Then you're gonna continue filling out. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Why are you using that instead of the checkbox button? Like right above the radio, it says checkbox. Why?
Oh, I don't know, because that's honest. If you want me to be honest, because that's just what I saw first.
Okay.
But you
So
can
you
totally
can.
use that. So let's delete this one out. You could come in and do the checkbox button there. Same thing. It's not going to let you check it. So you can see, oh, actually, I
Okay.
just learned something. Double click
Oh.
it and it lets you check it. So,
Okay.
hey, we all just learned something together. Thank you, JC. All right. So you can use checkboxes. You can use the radio button. Honestly, the more I think about it, checkbox is probably better. So, um, anyways, go through, fill it all out. Now, this is set up, like I said. Yellow is going to be Matt Brown. Blue is going to be Jennifer Brown. So I want you to know this. The initials, set up, date, signed, set up, text box. This is time. So this is where they're going to go in and put their time. So just know that. And you can see it's assigned. All these are yellow. All these are blue. Exact same thing. You work your way through the whole entire document. Do all of that. I will say, let me find this one section. Lead-based paint, if you don't want to waive that, make sure you delete these out. So that way, because if not, it's going to send to them and they're going to auto sign, right? If you accidentally deleted it out and you want to put it back in, you're going to come up here to your standard fields, click initial, drop it in, resize it if you so should choose, switch to the other person, initial, drop it in. It automatically matches your previous size, I think. So just FYI for everybody. Again, keep working through all of these things. I'm not going to spend the time filling it out. Make sure, you select what needs to be signed, what doesn't. You all know all this. You work your way through this whole entire package, right? Just like you would inside of .loop. But instead of going into each individual document, you actually get to do it as a whole package. So this, as you learn it, will actually save you time and be much more beneficial to you all. So you work through all of this, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go and we're going to hit send. And I'm going to show you what this looks like from the consumer side as well. And then I'll show you the back end of it. So we're going to hit send. All of the documents have now been sent out. So you can see here, this is the first one that we worked on. This is the entire package that we just sent. And it'll tell you the times and different things that you modified inside of here. So if I go to my email now, you can see here, I have an email to review documents. So this is what your consumer is going to see. Again, you should be calling them, you should be going through this. What I do is I tell them to open this email. We get on the phone. I'm going to click continue. I say, don't touch a single button. Just scroll with me and say, okay, on this first page, blah, 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 blah. On this second page, blah, 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 blah. Third page, so on and so forth. Then once they're done and you've communicated and you make sure that this is in perfect alignment with what your client wants, then they hit the start button and they just go through and click anywhere where it's yellow. It automatically takes them to each spot. I don't think I checked the required there. Required. And then I'm going to skip this one just to kind of show you something. Go to next. And you see it just moves me down. This is why I say you should go over your documents, because you can see how much am I reading there. The one thing is, I skipped that spot. Did you notice? And I went so fast that it jumped me back up. It wasn't going to let me move forward until I skipped that box. Now I could click finish here and it will allow me to go through, but I need to initial here. By the way, remember we had the time box and it does allow me to fill that out. Just like .loop, it's going to put in the date and time by the date parameter. Honestly, you could probably just delete out this time box. You don't really need it because it's going to go ahead and put it in. It does base everything off of Eastern time. We're looking into that, trying to figure it out, just FYI. Shouldn't matter from a contractual point. I mean, it clearly states that it's Eastern time, but just know we're kind of investigating that now. Okay, so we're going to click finish. It's going to ask you to log in. You can tell your clients, just hit no thanks. You don't need to do that. You can close it down right away. Then the next thing that we're going to do is go in and I'm going to sign as Jennifer. So it's this one. I sent them to both my emails just so I could show you all. Again, go through the document, click start, and then inside of here, it's going to ask me to go through and click everything in here. just like that. You can see I skipped one, so it brought me right back to it. Right, so you don't have to worry about your clients really missing anything. As long as, if you remember when I'm setting that document up, as long as you have that required box checked, it's always going to bring them back. It's really hard for them to skip stuff. I did not have this one marked as required, and you can see it's optional, so it didn't make me sign that. So just something to pay attention to when you're setting your documents up. Make sure all the places you want signed are actually signable, right? Or required, I should say. Okay, so we're going to click finish on that. Log in, no thank you, close out of that. Now I'm going to go back to my command, and keep in mind, you're probably not going to have your envelope open at this point. So I'm going to show you what I would do from a command standpoint. First of all, anytime I go into command after I know something's been done, just my habit, don't know if it even does anything, but I hit the refresh button. Just something I've learned over the years. It kind of helps out. I'm going to go, so I'm in the right thing. I'm going to go to transaction. Before I upload everything in for Steve to review for compliance, I'm going to come inside of here and I'm going to look at all the different documents, right? So inside of here, I can see this is a certification document that says it was signed by these people at these times. This is the legal protection document. This is the form that was not filled out. This is what I filled in, and see how this is a blue form. This is signed. So if I click on this, I'll open it up, it'll preview it, and you'll see my actual signatures here. So you can double check, make sure all your signatures are in, all that fun stuff. The other thing that you can do is if you click up here at the top of envelopes, so went back to envelopes, and keep in mind, this is where we're mailing it out to get signed. We're going to click inside of here, and I can view the documents this way as well, including clicking on each individual document. It'll pull it up, review it, look at the signatures, things like that. So a couple different options for viewing depending on what's easiest for you. I like the envelopes because I don't have to worry about here's the form, here's the signed one, so on and so forth. Okay. So now that you have that done, you have history, you can see the order of people signed, all of that fun stuff. But basically at this point, you are done. We have an executed contract. We are ready to send this off to our clients. Or to our co-op agent, I guess I should say. So I'm going to come into people. I'm going to actually add somebody. We're going to add, we'll add Steve Lewis. Boom, boom, boom. It's going to fill out all the information. We'll say he's on the list side. I'm going to invite him to the room. And then I can come in and actually, hold on. Sorry, I told y'all wrong. I got click happy and went to the wrong spot. Let me go back. I'm going to go back to my documents. And inside of here, because of course, I'm not going to send every document to Steve, being the co-op agent. So now I'm going to select which documents do I need. I'm going to make sure I picked from my signed documents. I'm going to send them here. I'm not going to, and then let's pretend, just for example, this was the seller disclosures and I needed to send that as well. Once I have those two, I'm going to create a new envelope. Again, now this time I'm going to mail to Steve. So I'm going to click create envelope. By the way, you can just email directly, just a little side note. Let me go back and show you all that before I actually go too far. If you wanted to, you could come in and just pretend like these were the documents we're sending, whatever, these two. You can come in here, you can move them, so you can set up room folders. I'll show you all that stuff later. You can come straight in and email straight from here and just boom, put in Steve's email, send it if you wanted to do it that way as well. So just FYI. I'm just getting in the habit of practicing things, so I'm doing everything as similar as I possibly can to get practice in. You can also print it. You can combine the documents into one, so I can click this button. It combines them, and this could be purchase package, for example. Now you can see here, I have everything inside of one document, and then do anything I need to do. Downloads, obviously save it on your computer. Archive it means I'm going to hide it in the background, but I can come back and retrieve it. Delete it means I'm removing it completely from the system and I'll never access it again. Okay. But for now, we're just going to send this over to Steve. I'm going to do another envelope because we're probably going to have some back and forth and I want the practice. So we'll let it create that. 222. I'm going to add the person I need in here. Did I do that right? Nope. Boom, like there. No signing or Steve's the only person I need to sign. Customize my message. Hit next. I actually don't need him to sign anything. You can see inside of here, there is no documents inside of here. But what I would be doing, personally, you don't have to do this if you don't want, but you could actually come in and say, okay, Steve's going to be my co-op agent. I want to make this as easy as possible on him. I'm actually going to throw some check boxes in for him. Now, if you do this, do not just put the accepted. You actually need to set the full document up for him, stuff like that. Now, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just showing you what's actually possible. Then, so let me delete these out. And then I'm going to hit send. You can send without fields because we really don't need to have them sign anything. And then that's going to go. Now, Steve in his email, when he checks it later, is going to have this document. And then we also have the access to that here. So again, though, you don't have to go through all of that. I'm just trying to get as many reps in as I can so I learn it at the best way possible. The real simple and short version is I'm going to check this box. I'm going to come here. I'm going to type in Steve's email. And then I'm going to hit send email. And then that's going to be sent over. He'll have a link where he can access it and be able to do anything he needs to do from there. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Okay. So next thing we're going to do, we can just go ahead and close this because we're done. Let's just pretend like it's now been accepted. Everything's good to go. Here's what I absolutely love. You can come into here and under room docs, you can now come in and everything is automatically in here. So agency consent, exclusive buyers agreement, exclusive buyers agreement, consumer guide, guide to agency relationships, anything else that you need, right? And then we just hit submit to the MC. I'm not going to submit it because I don't want Steve to try to figure out if it's real or not. Same thing in here, under contract, come in, purchase agreement. It's right there. So we can pull in anything that we want. We don't have to download them to our computers, re-upload them, all of that fun stuff.
So is that the purchase agreement they signed?
Yeah. So I'll show you. Good question, Steve. You can see here, it's exactly what I filled out with signatures. So once they've signed, because we started it through command, everything links together. So when y'all were hearing me talk about platforms 3 years ago and you're like, what the heck is this guy talking about? This is what I was talking about. We don't have to go into DocuSign or .loop, download our documents, re-upload them into command, then hit submit. We can literally operate our entire business out of command. That's a platform, right? Okay, so any questions before I get into tips and tricks? Okay, does this seem pretty easy for y'all? Everybody kind of understand? I know you'll need to practice a little bit, but does the theories and the operation make sense to everyone? Okay.
It does.
Okay, so a couple other things you can do. Like I said, I start everything from command, but if I'm going in just working on documents and I already have a room set up, you can 100% just save a link to DocuSign and go straight inside of here. So inside of here, your dashboard, this is everything that has happened. These are all your different rooms. Again, rooms are loops. So when I click rooms, you can see here are all of the tests that I've been running in one actual document that I've sent out. This is the room that we were just working on. It says Jesse McCoy because that's our administrator who takes care of all these, the setup and the system, I guess you could say. But inside of here, I'm going to come in and documents. One thing that I will suggest that everybody does, you can see we're just under room documents. You know how in .loop you could separate out and you can have, here's my listing documents, here's my purchase documents, here's my under contract documents and things like that. You can do the same exact thing inside of here. So I'm going to come in and actually, actions, that's where it is. Actions, add folder. I'm going to say buyer docs or purchase docs is what I would actually write. But so I have purchase docs. Then I can come in and I can move all my signed documents. Again, you do not have to do this by any means. I'm just doing it to show you what's possible. You can come up and click move. Destination is folder in current room. Location, buyer docs. Move. Now I have my room docs where I set everything up. I have my buyer docs. Then if we go under contract, I'm probably going to come into under contract and I'm going to say, or actions, add folder under contract, create. Now you can see I have this folder here. I'm putting my inspection reports. I'm putting in my FHA disclosures, all of that fun stuff. So now it's a little more organized, a little bit easier to be able to pull in. The other beautiful thing about that is when you do it this way, I'm going to take this document and move it, and let's pretend like it's an under contract document. So folder in room, select my room, oops, select under contract because that's where I want it. I'm going to move that there. Now, I do want to show you this. So we come into our opportunity, documents. Again, we're at our under contract point and I need to upload. Let's pretend like that was the earnest money. When you select in here, you don't see that document. Here's why. We're in room docs. We need to change this to our under contract docs. And then any of these drop downs, no matter what we pick. Oh, I might need to refresh it real quick. Refresh is your friend. Always remember that. Now, when I click under my, oh, it doesn't have signatures. I'm sorry, I forgot. It has to be a signed document or it's not going to let you upload it in here because it's going to know that it's not a full contract. So if I had signed this, this will now show up. But just so you can see, buyer docs, if when I select over to there, there's just my buyer docs, not every single thing. So by setting it up this way, you know, you're going to get your buyer agency consent form, the top of it signed when you first meet and do your wants and needs, right? Then when you get under contract, especially for like listings, when you move it to your buyer or your listing doc, I can come in and it will now allow me to re-upload into there that same document. So I don't have to figure out, you know, how do I download it, things like that. Does that make sense? I know that's kind of hard to explain, but is that making sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then once you're done with that, of course, you're going to submit to the MC and we're done.
Hey, Matt, when you created that under contract folder,
Yeah.
What document did you put in there?
Oh, I just put some random document in there. Exclusive buyer agency.
Would command know that's what that document is and why they didn't show up on the other ones?
What do you mean?
Like when you went to go upload that, if you went to that, would it be in that, even though it's not signed?
No, it won't let me upload this at all.
Okay, so
I
if it's
haven't
not
done
signed, it
anything
won't
to
let
the
you
form.
upload. Okay.
Yeah. So like if I see what you're saying now. So if I go back, like, and I switch to under contract, you can see how it shows no documents, right?
Okay.
If I go into here and let's actually work this document real quick just to show you and to make sure I'm not wrong because I'm learning it with y'all. Save and close. I don't even know if I need signatures. I honestly think I can save and close it and just review it and make sure it's set up properly and it will probably work. Let's check. I don't think it actually reads the signatures. Let me refresh. Under contract. No, I guess I do.
I didn't know if it knew that if you went to the first folder, because that's where that document's actually put in the command, it would actually see it there.
No, I think we actually, let me do some checking. I think we actually have to edit it though.
Okay.
So I'm going to come up and let me check. Let's just see what happens. I'm just going to run through this really fast. Yes, send. Sure, it looks good. Send. Okay, so now we should have that done. Yep. And then let's refresh. Under contract. I'm not sure why this isn't pulling in. Actually, hold on.
Go to consultation where that document actually is. And then go down to exclusive.
Let me remove it. Oh, you're saying it might match the names. That's a good point. I never even thought about that. Under contract.
I guess
Yeah,
not.
that part is not working. All right, I'll do some checking. Let me figure that out. I got it to work before, so it has to be something I'm just not doing correctly.
Okay, I didn't know if it was matching names to what command says.
Because it's actually still showing it as a form versus a signed document.
Did you move the signed document from room docs to under contract maybe?
Oh, you're right. That's a really good point. So I had it signed and it drops into here. You're right, Mercedes, you're spot on. I was trying to upload this document, which is the form. I moved the wrong document. I should have got it edited. Very good point. Thank you, Mercedes. We're gonna actually I'm just gonna delete this because I don't need it. So now I'm gonna come in, let me move my document to current folder, under contract, move. There we go. Now refresh my page. And it shouldn't really matter which one of these under. So I'm going to go to under contract. I'm going to drop down. Let's just pretend like it was a under. Make sure I'm going to switch these to under contract. Let's pretend like it was earnest money, and there it is.
Okay.
So that's exactly what it was. I was trying to add the one that wasn't edited in there. Good catch, Mercedes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there you go. So now you can operate everything. It will take some getting used to. Here's my advice to everybody. Go write an offer. Pick a random property, pick one of your listings, pick one of my listings, pick any listing you want. Go through the process, set yourself up as a customer, and actually send yourself a purchase agreement. Fill it all the way out. Get used to what it looks like. Play with it. You can't break anything. You know, you're better off to practice with yourself or with each other than you are when money's on the line with a client. So please spend this weekend and write one purchase agreement, one listing agreement, and just make sure that you know how to operate it at the highest manner possible. We're gonna continue to offer these training classes, and as we learn more and we dive into it, I will be putting together extra trainings, as well as the leadership team. I'm sure is going to do some extra trainings, but I had really spent some time on it yesterday, so I asked them if they would let me run this one because I know I teach a little different than other people. We're trying to appeal to everybody. So that's why I wanted to make this video. So thank you to the leadership team for letting me do this, and thank you all for attending. Let me know what questions you have, and then we'll wrap up.